Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I'm taking a look at Transformers Generations Studio Series Gamer Edition 06 Starscream. We have War for Cybertron Starscream here. The Gamer Edition series seems to be going through the War for Cybertron toys and designs. Starscream being our third Voyager. He comes with a two-part big Energon mace. Kind of splits apart like that. This is a much more like softer rubber. It looks like it's the same material as like the blast effect pieces. He comes with his sniper rifle piece. There we go. It's got a lot of good detail, but unfortunately it's that type of gray plastic where it kind of absorbs all the details on it. And then we've got Starscream. And if you're noticing, he is kind of stubby in terms of wingspan. I do like how nice and long he is. We've got a pretty decent looking jet mode. I do have some complaints, some minor ones. My big one is I wish the wings could extend out. Maybe they were two pieces and they could shift against each other. I do feel like the size of the cockpit, this being so big, detracts from the rest of the size. Like, this is a decent sized Voyager if we're comparing Starscream to, you know, a deluxe jet. I mean, there's some mass here, but the cockpit makes it feel as if it's smaller, if that makes sense. I think a smaller cockpit would have helped make the rest of the jet look bigger. And then we do have some unfortunate hollowness there. We can, if we look back here, we can put in some blast effect pieces so you can have your jet mode screaming across the sky. I think the things that I wish could be improved on this design would be the hollowness, the wingspan, and then I think the paint. The colors, the plastic colors look pretty good. I do wish that this was a darker plastic. I don't like the prototype plastic, but I like the color plastic on the blue, the magenta here. That all looks good. But I think it needed more paint, definitely. Like, we have nice tampos here and here, but more like bright pink paint or something like that would have been nice. For comparison, here is my other Gamer Edition toy. So you can see here, again, Starscream looks, even though like Voyager size compared to other deluxes, compared to the Gamer Edition deluxes, Starscream feels a bit on the small side. But these Decepticons do look pretty good together, and we can have them, you know, racing through Cybertron's night sky like so. I'm sure we're going to be getting more paint jobs. We're going to get our Thundercracker and our Skywarp, but in my case, I do have one other figure I want to compare to. I have another War for Cybertron figure, and this is obviously not the War for Cybertron Deluxe mold. This is the Planet X Moors mold. This is the Acid Storm version. But I do feel, I want to like preface this by saying, I recognize that I'm probably biased here because I have this toy. This was an $80 toy, and it's a third party, you know, Voyager-ish sized. When I'm comparing the two, if my comparisons seem overly harsh or unfair, it is because I can't get away from how terrific this toy is when I'm comparing the two. Even though these are two very different price points, I want to point out that it's not a fair comparison. This is 35, maybe 40 bucks. This was $80. But we can see kind of what, maybe this is technically more game accurate. I don't know. They made a big deal when they were advertising the Gamer Edition series that they were working off the CAD models. But this one just looks cooler. The bigger wingspan looks more impressive. The smaller cockpit helps the rest of the plane look more like a space plane or a space jet than, you know, I just think that this is the cooler version. But here is how they look together if you're considering, you know, buying one for your collection, and you want to mix and match War for Cybertron molds. They do kind of line up a little differently. I will say that if they do come out with a crazy color scheme, maybe that would entice me to like this mold a little more. But that is what we got. Other than that, no other major features here, unfortunately. No landing gear, which I feel like is sadly missing from a lot of jet modes. We do have 4 5mm pegs, but they're not super deep pegs, so I have found that stuff wants to pop in and out of these hexagonal ports, which is unfortunate. We've got the boosters on the back. we do have, I guess, in terms of articulation, we have these pieces, like little side pieces, which could be used to, you can turn them if you're trying to turn the jet or something. But they, again, are very, very small, very, very minuscule. So let's get into that transformation. First thing we are going to do is disconnect this backpack section, which we can lift up and separate out and away like so. There's a tab here on each side of the legs. There we go. Get things split. And we can essentially accordion this up on the double joint, leave it alone, and just do the legs. The legs are nice and simple. We're going to come in, untab them from the side, and they just rock up on a double joint. We can click them back into place up top. And if you notice, there is a tab on this section here, this purple section, which goes into his knee joint here. Not knee joint, but the knee pad, I guess. Then we can close up this piece, and then we can collapse that section, that little wing, and we can bring out his front toe like so. Same thing on this side. Rock things up, get the tab past the knee armor. It'll lock in place. Flip this piece down. And I will say, build-wise, it feels good. Everything feels nice and tight right now, which is appreciated. Next thing, before we worry about the backpack, we're going to come in on the arms. My arms tend to want to pull themselves apart anyway. We're just going to split the arms, bring them down. They are on a 90-degree bend that we can straighten out. Same thing on the other side. Bring it down, 90-degree bend, straighten it out. And then the arm joints here want to rock up on either side. You get them nice and even because we're going to be bringing the cockpit down towards them. Again, keeping the backpack out of the way, we can try and open up our cockpit, pull the nose cone down, open up the cockpit, pull our head out. There's a Starscream head in there for us to get out of the way. Close up the cockpit, and the cockpit is like very soft, malleable plastic. And maybe that is one of the reasons why it looks the way it does. For some reason, they had to use soft plastic, and it doesn't hold details as well as it should. We do have his little, I don't know what you call them, these little like side pieces. They'll pop up on his like collar. They do lock his cockpit in the straight position. So I'm trying to get a good position. It's tiny, but we want to pop these little bad boys up. There we go. Can get a fingernail in there. Same thing on this side. We're just trying to pop it up. And once it pops up, the whole section can come forward and get out of the way. And now that it's forward, we can see there are tabs, gray tabs on this bar that go into the blue slots that we kind of created as we transformed his shoulders. The whole thing comes down, and then the head comes down, and we can turn that head around, popping out to the side his little collar pieces. The last thing we got to do is the backpack, which is relatively simple. In this position, we can flip up these wing pieces, get those out of the way. Then we can take the backpack, open it up. There we go. Open it up, flipping in those red pieces. We can close it back up, and then we're going to take this section, fold it in on itself on both sides, and then just collapse that backpack in. And if you notice in all the transformation, these toes are the loosest joints. They will come back into their resting position naturally. So we got to pop them back out. But here is War for Cybertron Starscream in his robot mode. And overall, I think he doesn't look bad. First, big shout out to that head sculpt. That is a really nicely painted eyes, face, a really good detail on that head sculpt. It is brought down by the chest. I feel like people are trying to trick themselves into liking the way this looks. I see people saying, oh, it doesn't look that bad in person. I think this doesn't look great. It's just like a big bulb. It's got no details. It's got like very, very faint and soft details. it just doesn't match the rest of his body, I think is the big thing. It's too big, and then the style is so soft compared to how angular and rigid everything else looks. It just doesn't look great. His legs look pretty nice. I mean, that is some nice robot detail. I like, the greebling and stuff in his arms. This arm does have the gimmick where you can pop it off to put a weapon on there, and they all seem to do that. But yeah, overall, I mean, a clean backpack. This might be like my favorite of the Voyagers so far. It is pretty decently articulated. We do have, some rocking and tilting and looking on that head sculpt. You can go all around on that ball joint. We got to get the wings out of the way, but we can go 360 on the shoulder. We can go up. These don't clash, which is a nice surprise. And I should mention, if you watch my YouTube short, you have to assemble these. They're a little annoying to peg in correctly, but you just got to really get your thumb in there, and then they peg on just fine. We do have bicep swivel. We do have double jointed elbows, which I really appreciate because of transformation, so we get a full curl. We do have twisting wrists, which I appreciate. The waist, surprisingly, when I first got it, I thought that this was going to clash, but they carved things out in such a way that we get the full Van Damme, which I really, really appreciate. We can kick up really, really high, which is awesome. We can kick back very, very far. I guess technically if we're kicking straight back, it's that far, but that's still plenty. We can, get thigh twist in there. We do have knee joints. The toe keeps coming in on this foot, but we do have ankle tilt. So it is, a surprisingly posable for how maybe simple it feels. A surprisingly posable war for Cybertron Starscream. And of course, he can hold his mace. There we go. The mace does still plug in. The same ports that we had in jet mode we have here, so we can plug it in on his back. Same thing with his gun, like so. Or if we want, we can take the forearm off and put the gun in right here, which again, I do not love how that looks. I think it just makes his arm look so skinny without the forearm on there. And what I think is annoying, unlike the other toys, what I don't see here, here is the instructions for popping the arm off. I don't see it attaching anywhere on his back. It has this this slot here, but there isn't really a tab to stick it on the back. So you do end up having this extra piece if you want to work with the gimmick. That is a big letdown. Like Barricade, his gun or his arm, they both have tabs. So if you want to swap things out, you can absolutely do that. Have Starscream with a smaller gun. He can store, obviously, his regular gun on his back, but then you've just got a forearm hanging out, and that is annoying. I do wish that was accounted for. It seems like a really simple miss to not account for making sure that the main gimmick of the line, which is that you can grow weapons out of arms, War for Cybertron style, is not accounted for. Now, Starscream, in terms of comparing to other toys, he is... Get this back in there. He's nice and solid. My copy is anyway, except for that toe. He does feel, maybe a little small for a Voyager in robot mode. I felt like in jet mode, it was pretty decently sized, even if the cockpit made it seem small. But in robot mode, he's technically a head taller than Barricade. But he feels small, and again, I think it's the fact that he's got this round little tummy that makes him feel smaller, even though he's clearly bigger, and he's got more mass and stuff. He just doesn't have the presence that I think a Seeker should have. If you really want the best War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron Starscream mold possible, I think Planet X is still the superior one. Again, it's not just a matter of size and complexity, it's the proportions. I like this chest better than this chest. I like that these pieces are bigger than these pieces. I just like this design a lot more. this, you know, it's not bad, but if you're looking for, like, I guess if you must have an official Hasbro toy and you really are a big War for Cybertron fan, then I guess you go this way. But I feel like if you're a big War for Cybertron fan, that game's old. You're probably got the money to get one of these guys or get all of these guys, and you'll enjoy this a lot more. If you are looking for just a video game Starscream, I think I'd actually recommend the whatever they call it, Transformers Rise or Transformers Revengeance, or what is it, Transformers Reactivate. I think this is the better toy. Obviously, this is not the War for Cybertron design. But yeah, you know, you've got options. I don't think I super recommend this one. It's fine, but it doesn't like stand out to me in any special way. That being said, I could see myself picking up not a Starscream or a Thundercracker or Skywarp, but maybe if they did something weird and fun, like a Shattered Glass Thundercracker or a Hotlink or Bitstream. I mean, they probably won't do that. But as is, I could pick one of those up. But again, it feels like modern Studio Series isn't really living up to what I'm expecting from it. I'm expecting awesome transformations, really, really accurate designs. And to me, this seems like the more, you know, the more accurate. This is what I would expect from Studio Series, to figure out a way to do this at this price point. And that did not necessarily happen here. But it's still like a fine Voyager. It just doesn't have a place on my shelf. So this video becomes a giveaway. I have this War for Cybertron Starscream. And if you want to win Transformers Studio Series Generations War for Cybertron Starscream, I think I got a simple enough question of the day. If you haven't entered one of my giveaways before, all you do is you go down in the comments, you answer the question of the day, and you say you want to enter the giveaway, and then during next week's video, I will draw and announce the winner during that review. So for this Starscream, we've gotten all these leaks recently for 2024, for 2025. I think my question is just, what's the Transformers leak that you are most excited for? I don't know that we've gotten Gamer Edition ones. If we have, I haven't paid attention. Maybe it was in the mess of Studio Series leaks. I think for me, and for my tastes, I am honestly, surprisingly, as much as I'm not super into Studio Series, or especially Studio Series 86, but I'm excited for a new Devastator. Devastator is just an awesome combiner. Getting a new Devastator in 2025 is going to be a lot of fun. That's what I'm most excited for. But if you would like to enter for a chance to win this Transformers Generation Studio Series Gamer Edition 06 War for Cybertron Starscream, go down in the comments below. Tell me, out of all the leaks, what you are most excited for. Let me know. And then next week, out of all the people who enter, I'll pick one and announce the winner during the next video. So that's the review. Overall, did not impress. It might be the best of the Gamer Edition Studio Series, but Gamer Edition as a whole feels like a low point in Studio Series. And this past year of Studio Series hasn't been super impressive. So it's, you know, it's mostly fine, and it's disappointing that that's all he is. But if you want to win one, you got a chance to, and I'll catch you all next week. Bye!